All right, everyone. So you wanted to dive into this Argentina labor market report. And honestly, it is a bit of a dense one,
Mm.
but that's why we're here.
Yeah, happy to help untangle it all. It can feel like a puzzle sometimes, right? All these numbers and trends.
Exactly. So we're looking at Argentina,
Hmm.
specifically Q2 of 2024. And our main source is this report. It's by Martin Gonzalez Rosado.
Oh, I know his work.
Yeah.
He's really solid, an econometrics guy.
Right. So we really dug into the data.
Yeah.
And the top-level findings are, well, they're a little bit, how should I put it?
A little messy, maybe.
Yeah. Like on the one hand, more Argentinians are trying to work. The activity rate is up, which you'd think. Good sign, right?
Usually, yeah, shows some faith in the economy. But then it gets interesting, because the employment rate barely budged.
Tiny increase.
And meanwhile, unemployment, that jumped up.
Significantly even.
So more people want to work, not enough jobs to match.
That's the puzzle we're going to pick apart. So let's start with that activity rate. Almost a full percentage point jump. Might not sound huge, but that's people. Like 400,000 more people looking for work than last year at this time.
And here's where it gets granular. That surge is mostly in the big cities. Smaller areas, actually less active.
So it's not uniform across the whole country.
Right away, we know it's more complex.
Okay, so cities are bustling. The UT, that employment rate I mentioned, 0.2 percentage point increase, tiny.
Barely added any jobs, like 190,000.
Which, spread across the whole workforce,
Right.
doesn't solve the 400,000 more wanting to work.
And even within that small increase, it was mostly women over 29. And older men, kind of specific, right?
We'll definitely come back to that, why those groups. But first, we got to address the bad news. That unemployment rate. 1.4 percentage point jump, that's a lot. Over 200,000 more people unemployed in a year.
And that highlights the core problem. It's not enough to just want to work. The jobs themselves have to be there. And right now, in Argentina, they're not being created fast enough.
Not even close, it seems like. So it's kind of like more people are raising their hands, saying, I want to work.
Yeah.
But the number of available spots, not growing nearly enough.
Leaving a lot of folks out in the cold, yeah.
Exactly. And then remember that bit about women over 29.
And the older men, yeah, kind of stood out.
What's the deal with different age groups in this whole thing?
So younger Argentinians especially, those under 29, they're on a bit of a roller coaster. Unemployment for them did dip in some places.
Ooh, a little good news there at least.
Kinda, but it's still way higher than for older workers.
Like even if it's getting better, still tougher to be young starting out. I remember graduating during a recession. Not fun.
Yeah, it makes those early career steps even harder.
Any ideas why that might be, according to the report?
It's always complicated, but one factor could be automation. Those entry-level jobs, first rung on the ladder, they're getting hit by tech, less of those around anymore.
So it's not just about experience, it's like the jobs themselves are changing.
Exactly. The very definition of entry-level is shifting.
Okay, that makes sense, but what about the older workers then? If younger folks are struggling to get in, how are older ones seeing gains?
One theory is they're delaying retirement.
Okay, so not necessarily new W jobs opening up for them, but them not leaving is still impacting things, right?
Right, could be economic pressure, changes to pensions, or even just wanting to work longer, who knows?
But that means fewer spots open up for those climbing the ladder.
Creates a bottleneck, yeah. And it's not just Argentina. This age difference in jobs, it's global now.
Driven by the same things, tech, demographics, the whole shebang.
Yep, force is bigger than any one country.
Okay, so we've zoomed out to the whole world. Let's zoom back in to Argentina, different regions this time. Could that be playing a role in what we're seeing with different ages?
Absolutely. Remember how activity's booming in big cities.
Right, more people looking for work there.
Those centers attract younger workers, often.
Makes sense. They're more likely to move for opportunity.
More mobile, drawn to the variety, even if it's competitive.
So they're taking the risk, moving to the city, hoping to find something.
Even if it's not their dream job right away, gotta start somewhere.
Which connects back to what we said, more competition for fewer entry-level jobs.
It's all a cycle, and then you contrast that with smaller towns.
Rural areas, yeah, they've got their own WN thing going on.
Might have more limited job markets, specific industries.
And maybe those industries, they favor older, experienced workers more?
Could be, creating that imbalance.
So like where you live geographically shapes the jobs available, which then impacts WHO, succeeds. It's like a puzzle with shifting pieces.
And speaking of puzzle pieces, let's add another layer.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Education and skills, how those play into all this.
Right, because back in the day, college degree was the golden ticket, right?
It was seen that way, yeah, but Is it still?
That's the million-dollar question. What's the report say?
So, in Argentina, having a degree still helps. Definitely. Unemployment for those folks, it stayed pretty stable.
So some insulation from the worst of it.
Yeah, but here's the catch. Even with a degree, certain skills are becoming non-negotiable.
So it's not just what, it's what you can do with it.
100%. The report really emphasizes that.
Okay, give us the inside scoop. What are these must-have skills?
Adaptability, big one.
Like being able to roll with the punches, job market changes?
Exactly. Learn new tech, process info fast, pivot when needed.
Sounds exhausting, haha.
It's the reality, though. The report highlighted digital literacy.
So even if you're not coding all day, got to be tech savvy.
Even traditional jobs, they've got software online components now.
It's like the whole job market is leveling up in terms of what you got to know.
And that's not just Argentina, that's worldwide.
So no matter where you are, got to be ready to learn and adapt constantly.
Exactly. That's the future of work wherever you go.
It's really fascinating how this report connects like individual people's situations to these bigger trends, regions, even the skills needed.
It all ties together, right? Like those Buenos Aires suburbs we talked about.
Booming, but maybe not for everyone. It's all connected.
And that's what makes it so important to understand, not just the numbers themselves, but the forces behind them.
So for our listeners tuning in, what's the takeaway here?
If you're in Argentina looking at this job market, don't just see the overall unemployment rate and panic. It's more nuanced than that.
There are bright spots. You just got to know where to look.
Right, like those suburbs, certain fields, your skills might be valued more.
It's about figuring out where you fit into all this.
And no matter what, stay adaptable.
That seems to be the key word, no matter what we're talking about.
It really is. What can you do to stay competitive?
Like, even if you're not in tech, learning some digital skills can't hurt.
Exactly. Future-proof yourself. Stay curious about your field. What's changing?
Because who knows what the job market will look like in 5-10 years.
And it's not just about the skills themselves, it's the attitude.
Being willing to learn new things, not getting stuck.
Exactly. That's what will set people apart no matter what happens.
It's easy to get caught up in the data, the charts, the percentages.
Oh, for sure, especially with a report this in-depth.
But I keep thinking behind every data point is a person,
Absolutely, with their own story, their own hopes and struggles.
This isn't just numbers on a page, it's people's lives.
And that's what makes it so important to get right. The policies, the opportunities, it all has to reflect that human side.
So true. And on that note, I think we did a pretty good job unpacking this.
I'd say so. This report was a beast, but we tackled it.
Thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive. And hey, if you got a dense report you want us to untangle, let us know. We're always up for a challenge.
Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.
And we'll be back soon with more deep dives into the topics you care about.